Hello and welcome. I am Josh Widdicombe. For today, I'm the curator of a place of incredible artefacts and exhibitions, a place that stores the greatest thing on earth. This is my Museum of Pop Culture. Welcome back to part 2. Coming up in this part, Mary's moral crusade against the video nasties continues, and she even finds time to battle a newly created soap opera, EastEnders. And elsewhere we look at some classic British complaints over the years, including strong view objections to those hotbeds of controversy, Countryfile and the Antiques Roadshow. So let's park Mary Whitehouse. We've gone through the kind of birth of Mary Whitehouse from annoyed housewife to 25,000 people in Hyde Park listening to Cliff Richard do a concert in her honour, almost.
Yeah, her rise of terror.
The rise of terror.
To remove pornography and bring Cliff Richard to the masses.
So let's look at how we get to the video nasty situation, which is going to clash with Mary Whitehouse. Let's start from the formation of the British Board of Film Classification, which is how films get censored through the years. So they were called the British Board of Film Censors when they form in 1912. The name changes to the British Board of Film Classification in 1984 at the height of the video nasties thing, because clarification feels much better than censors. Because censors is obviously a negative word, but it takes them 72 years to realise that.
But they don't have to reprint any of the letterheading or anything like that.
Exactly.
They can keep the name, but change what it means.
Exactly.
Great.
It's perfect, yeah. So basically, it begins in 1912 off the back of a film which the Daily Mail is outraged at, nothing changes, about the life of Christ, called From the Manger to the Cross.
I mean, that's purely factual, isn't it?
It is purely factual.
That just tells you you're getting every bit of it from birth. Well, I mean, I guess you don't want to end on the cross.
You're not getting the rebirth.
Because I think the crucial bit that proves, there's no proof of concept is that he rises again. If it ends with him dying, then anyway, I've not seen it, so I can't comment.
No, exactly. Well, it's a 71-minute long silent drama about the life of Jesus. I'm going to say it. I think you'll probably die before you've seen it.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's true.
There's no way you're making 71 minutes for that. The film's quite tame. And it's pretty reverent about, I mean, of course it's reverent about its subject. It's Jesus.
You have to be.
You've got to be. You've got to give the guy some bloody credit. But the Daily Mail's basically outraged, I think, that it's even been made, says it's nothing sacred to the filmmaker. And this is the kind of first sign of cinema being blasphemous. So the British Board of Film Censors begin operating on the 1st of January, 1913. Nice to start the new year.
Come silly with a new project. Yeah. New year, new me. Listen, 1912, I was blaspheming. Honestly, I had such a blasphemous Christmas, but I'm promising myself no blaspheming from New Year's Day onwards.
They watched From the Manger to the Cross 6 times on New Year's Eve.
Exactly. Get out your system, purge it.
Like having an Indian the night before you do a diet.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's no written guidelines for the BBFC. In 1916, they introduced a list of things which they consider when classifying. They're absolutely brilliant. So this is halfway through the First World War. You're like, come on, guys. Eyes on the prize, surely. So indecorous, ambiguous, or irreverent titles and subtitles. These are things they don't.
Come on.
Yeah. The modus operandi of criminals, they don't like that.
This was a thing back in the day, wasn't it? That like you weren't allowed to show in movies criminals getting away with it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the reason why the Italian Job has to end on a literal cliffhanger?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, where the truck with all the gold in it is teetering over the edge and you're like, oh, are they going to get it? Are they not going to get it? But they have to end it there because, I don't know, maybe that's apocryphal, but it's because that you can't show criminals getting away with crimes.
Oh, right. That's interesting. What about the unnecessary exhibition of underclothing? They don't like that.
They don't like people showing their knickers, basically.
They don't like people showing their knickers. They hate John Lennon. Bathing scenes passing the limits of propriety.
So it's basically just head above water, as soon as any other bit.
A few more bubbles, please. Come on. A few more bubbles. Keep
Get the Radox out.
Yeah. The relation between capital and labour. So I don't know if that's like a communist problem. Like they feel that there's going to be a kind of reds in the bed situation.
They're not talking about the radio station and the political party, presumably.
No. See, this is incredible. Scenes holding up the king's uniform to contempt or ridicule.
That feels specific. That feels like they've had their fingers burned, doesn't it?
Yeah. First night scenes. That's shagging.
Shagging, of course. Yeah. Not the theatre.
Not the theatre. Situations accentuating delicate marital relations.
This is all drama, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Men and women in bed together.
No, can't have that.
And scenes depicting the effect of venereal disease, inherited or acquired. People are obsessed with it.
Obsessed with VD. Absolutely obsessed.
Obsessed with VD in the old days. It was actually called VD Day, wasn't it?
You know, there was a war going on, and yet people are still obsessing
about VD.
Yeah, you know, worry about dying in the Somme. Stop worrying about getting genital warts.
Some decisions from the early years are kind of mad. There's a great one. In 1928, they say Jermaine Dulac's surrealist film, The Seashell and the Clergyman, was, this is a quote, almost meaningless. But if there is a meaning, objectionable.
I love it. It's like a magic eye picture.
Yeah.
If you stare at it long enough, you can see something absolutely disgusting there.
Yeah. So the X certificate, which is basically the precursor to 18, that comes about in the 1950s. And it's introduced for films suitable for those 16 and over.
Okay. So actually, if you were 16, you could go and see an X-rated movie.
I mean, they weren't as extreme as the X-rated movies of the 80s.
No, of course.
As
of course. You could go and see Christ being gently ridiculed.
Go and see.
That was the sort of thing you wanted.
The king's uniform being held to contempt.
Listen, on my 16th birthday, can I go and see Call That a Crown? I'm really excited about it, finally.
It replaces the H certificate. Do you know what H stood for? Yeah, I think you could probably get this.
Absolutely disgusting.
Horrific.
Is it? No, they've gone that far. Horrific.
H for horrific.
Don't you think as a filmmaker, you really want an H?
You want an H, yeah.
I know obviously you're sort of cutting off a lot of your audience.
Also, when you're forming a 5-piece pop band in the early 2000s, you want an H as well.
Yeah, you want an H. Of course you do.
So that's what happens in the 50s. You get this X certificate. Then by the 70s, they recognise the generation gap. So there's 2 new ratings for teenagers. Like there's AA, which is for under 14s.
Okay.
That's a different AA. If you see it under 14 in AA, that's a life lived.
Yeah. Damaged goods again.
damaged goods and a half if you're in AA under 14. So from the 30s to the mid-60s, the majority of local councils. So this is what happens, right? At this point, the way it works is that they make recommendations and then the councils can implement them or not.
Right.
So from the 30s to the mid-60s, they abide by these decisions. But changes in the classification start in the 70s and because of like the liberal changes in society and in cinema. And so due to the increased like nudity and sex and violence, councils basically go rogue and start using their own powers for censorship because it actually comes down to the councils. These are just recommendations.
Right. So do the councils, would people like travel across county lines?
Yes. So films are banned in some areas and not in neighbouring areas. So there's a radio programme about Manchester in the early 80s that says it's still a fact that if you live in Stockport or Rochdale, almost anything goes. While if you live in Bolton, you might as well stay at home and watch television.
Bolton was like a sort of Salt Lake City or something, or a proper Mormon country.
But let's put it this way. It has a strange ability to turn out family entertainers. Peter Kay, Sarah Cox, Paddy McGuinness, Vernon Kay.
Absolutely.
What we're saying here is that Bolton has created that through...
Yeah. If you spend a little bit less time fiddling with yourself.
Peter Kay was obsessed with television because the cinema's not worth watching.
That's true. He was obsessed with the working class northern home.
Exactly.
That's where all of his comedy came from.
If he'd grown up in Stockport or where was the other one? Or Rochdale, he would be dealing with filth. His stand-up would be absolutely...
He'd be like Roy Chubby Brown, wouldn't he? coming out and turning the air absolutely blue, saying stuff about the King's uniform.
There's a reason Radio 2 has 3 separate people from Bolton on it.
Yeah,
it's created the Radio 2 DJ.
Wholesome.
In the 1970s, there's an explosion of mainstream and indie horror movies. So this is where we get to the video nasty era. So the mainstream ones, you've got Exorcist is obviously a famous one.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Little House on the Left, not as scary a title. I Spit on Your Grave, more scary.
Is it Last House on the Left or is it Little House on the Left?
Oh, sorry, The Last House on the Left.
I was going to say I think you're conflating with Little House on the Prairie, which could be less of a video nasty. Weirdly, I've seen more of these than I realised.
Have you?
I've seen Exorcist, I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I don't think The Exorcist it really counts as a video nasty.
Oh, thanks a lot. Just when I was about to say I'd seen some video nasties. I've seen The Exorcist, doesn't count.
It's Mark Kermode's favourite film. That's what I always know about it.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's got tubular bells on it.
Yeah, it has. So the word nasty doesn't come from films. It comes from the UK publishing industry. And there were these horror novels in the 70s themed around killer animals that were known as the nasties. The Rats by James Herbert.
Read that.
You've read that?
Yeah, I used to read a lot of those kind of books when I was a kid. Yeah. The Fog and all that kind of stuff. I've not read The Slugs.
Slugs by Sean Hudson. And back to our old favourite, Venereal Disease, Night of the Crabs by Guy N. Smith. That's what Mary Whitehouse is desperate to clamp down on Night of the Crabs.
No, you can't burn them off with a lighter.
So James Herbert's The Rats, 1974.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that then, Matthew?
No, because I read it when I was a kid. Weirdly, it's such a bizarre...
It's very off-brand.
The same child who wouldn't watch Evil Dead would also read like Stephen King's It and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I read a lot of those kind of horror books. And full disclosure, there was lots of sex in them. That's what it was.
Oh, here we go.
So you've got grubby little teenage Crosby who's getting his kicks that way.
By reading The Rats.
By reading The Rats, yeah. I read a lot of James Herbert books because they were always quite grubby.
He's the most popular British horror writer ever, James Herbert.
Well, he was with me when I was 14.
More than R.L. Stein.
R.L. Stein's Goosebumps.
R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. So I don't know which bit of this you were masturbating to, but it's basically about a bunch of killer rats that kill people in London.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
At the end, the lead character kills them and discovers the rat's alpha. Do you remember the alpha?
No.
It's a white, hairless, obese rat with 2 heads, and he kills it with an axe in a fit of rage.
The big question is, how many boobs?
How many boobs?
How many boobs?
And then there's an epilogue where a female rat survives the purge by being trapped in the basement of a grocery shop, and it gives birth to a new litter, one of which is a 2-headed white rat.
Absolutely. Open it up for a sequel.
I've got no interest in that. It's horrible.
Literally, it's horror. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, I can't believe you'd want to read that.
Yeah, I was into kind of horror, but I wouldn't watch any horror films at all. I just found horror films, the idea of it, the visuals too scary. But I love to read.
Slugs. This is Slugs by Sean Hudson. A female slug can lay 1.5 million eggs in a year, a fact which holds terrifying consequences for the people of Merton, which is just southwest London, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Paul Merton took his name from there, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is he called Paul Mason or something? I can't remember what he's called. As the town basks in the summer heat, a new breed of slug is growing and multiplying. In the waist-high grass, in the dark cellars, they are acquiring new tastes, new cravings for blood, for flesh, human flesh. No thanks. Would you have enjoyed that?
Just grit the roads, guys. I think rats, way scarier than slugs. Slugs are so slow-moving.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So slow-moving. You can get rid of them. They're tiny as well.
What about Night of the Crabs, which is about a couple that go missing in the sea, and then a marine biologist finds that it's actually, they haven't just got caught in the rip curl, but there's a colony of giant crabs led by an alpha king named King Crab.
Give it 5 more minutes, guys.
And they emerge from the sea to feed on humans. Yeah, I hate all this stuff. It's not for me.
Is this creeping you out? If you read a book like this, would it give you nightmares?
I hate it.
Because you're a wimp, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're one of life's classic wimps.
I am, yeah. I'm quite happy with that.
But that's fine. That's absolutely fine to be a wimp. Yeah.
So that's where the nasties come from. And the other thing that leads to the creation of video nasties, and this is a key thing, key change is the birth of VHS. Do you want to have a guess when the first VCR was created?
Ooh, 78?
1956.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. And it cost a cool $50,000, or in today's money, $600,000.
Wow. So this was not for home use.
It wasn't for home use. You needed a technician to help run it, and it had a lifespan of a few hundred hours.
Oh, no.
But, like, obviously that's the first one. TV companies, though, realised this is a good thing to get into because they can't edit still, but what they can do is they can pre-record as live, and so they're not having to put everything out live.
Right, I get it. Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good for TV. And then the first prototype for the commercial VCR comes out October 1969 in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And it's Sony, right? They want to come up with the industry standard. And it is released as a Sony U-matic in 1971, right? That's the first recording format. But the tapes are bigger than the standard VHS tapes, and they only play for 60 minutes.
It's not enough.
So they get beaten to the punch by Philips, who launch in 1972 the N1500, and that unique name is the video cassette recording, or VCR for short. That's the one we remember, right? And they go on sale in the UK in 1970. Did you say 1979?
I said 78, so I was a bit off.
And they go on sale in the UK in 1979. That's your blinkered worldview, that you don't believe anything's happening outside the UK.
This is it. Yeah. Shut the borders.
Shut the borders. Yeah, we're fine without your VCRs. So by 1984, they're in a quarter of homes.
They were so expensive, though, weren't they?
We got one at the start of the 90s.
We had one in the 80s, but it was a Betamax player. We backed the wrong horse. We were a Betamax household. But I remember them being, like, when they first came out, they were like 400 quid or something insane like that, weren't they?
By 1995, what percentage of houses do you think had a VCR in the UK?
It's going to be over 50%, so 70% maybe?
85 by that point. So it's taken over by that point. But it is the VHS v Betamax war. So Betamax has got better picture, better audio. Truth is, no one gives a fuck about those things, do they?
No.
Sony, and a more stable image, that's what Sony say. But the big problem, besides the price, was the recording time, which is crucial. And specifically one thing, they wouldn't go for long enough to record a football match.
Right.
So one of the main reasons they lose the war is because they can't record for long enough for the football match. So in 1975, Betamax has 100% of the market. By 1980, VHS has 60% of the market. So it swings in the late 70s. And then by 1981, Betamax has dropped to 25%. By 1986, just 7.5%.
And yet here comes my dad.
Also, the film companies then don't want to put things out on Betamax. Because they're like, you're fucking losers. So then that just compounds the situation that you can't rent things on Betamax, you can't buy things on Betamax. So VHS takes over and gets victory.
We must have got ours in like 1988 though, or something. Why are we getting a Betamax?
That's a mad decision.
What is my dad up to in the late 80s? Maybe it was even earlier than that, but it wouldn't have been much earlier than that. It was in my lifetime, and I was born in 1980. You know, it wasn't like a Coke v Pepsi thing. It was like, there is one product that is beating out all other competitors, and I'm going to go for the other one.
Yeah.
Mad.
Well, maybe it's on discount or something.
Could have been on sale, yeah. Probably was.
You can get sweet talked in those days by a man in Dixon's. Do you know what I mean? Like,
big time.
You don't know what you're talking about because the internet doesn't exist.
The same thing happens nowadays with sound quality, where people are like, you can't listen to stuff on Spotify because of the sound quality. There's loads of reasons not to listen to something. But then you go like, I couldn't listen to an album on Spotify. The compressed nature of it is like,
come on.
I can't hear that.
I can't hear that.
I can't hear that. So anytime they're like, oh, you've got to get a 4K television.
Yeah.
Do you know the dog shit I watch on telly?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be seen
also,
in 4K.
Actually, what happens is you get a 4K television and then you watch Frasier and it looks awful. Because it looks like you're in the room and they're just walking around a set.
You shouldn't be able to see Frasier Crane's paws.
No, exactly.
That's not something that needs to happen. You can see they're wearing makeup. You can see somebody who's got a moustache that's held on by gauze.
Yeah.
Telly's supposed to be a bit magical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be a bit blurry, a bit fantasy, a bit far away.
Yeah, exactly. So the VHS is the important thing that leads to the video nasty thing, because when the VHS player becomes available for the general public, there's a loophole in the classification, which means the BBFC has no legal power to give it an age rating. So that's what it is.
Right. because they hadn't accounted for technology, really.
Yeah. And Hollywood don't think about this. They don't flood the market with horror films initially, which basically leaves it open for US indie companies and countries like Italy and Spain to basically go for it with extreme horror films, get their films released uncut and make loads of money. So that's what happens. Also, and this is a strange detail, during this era, there's loads of redundancies and lots of people use their redundancy payoffs to open video stores. So there's loads of video stores.
I used to work in a video store.
Did you? Like Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't parlay that.
I bet you didn't tell them your dad had Betamax.
No, I didn't mention it.
And they'd say to you, do you want to take any videos home? Like to watch? And you'd be like, no, it's not my kind of thing.
No, I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
No, I worked in Apollo Videos, the other one, not Blockbuster.
Did you? Oh,
yeah, I worked in Apollo Videos.
Backing the wrong horse.
Honestly.
Story of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. If you show me somebody who's not going to make it, I will hop on that gravy train. Let me tell you.
So the public awareness around these films coming on home video comes from a company called Vipco, who make a video called Driller Killer. Do you know Driller Killer?
Abel Ferreira's Driller Killer. I've seen that as well.
You've seen that? You're a huge fan.
It turns out I'm already into Video Nasties.
Yeah.
That got decriminalised or whatever, like years later, got released when I was working at the video store. So I watched it there.
2002.
Yeah, that would have been, in fact, it would have been a bit later than that. So maybe I watched it at university.
So basically, they take a full-page advert out in home video magazines showing the explicit cover, and that leads to complaints to the Advertising Standards Agency, but then this becomes kind of the face of the Video Nasty.
Can I say as well, I think this was the time when they were like, they would often put something on the cover that didn't really bear any relation to, that it wasn't a scene from the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You'd often have it with fantasy movies where there would be people standing on a big pile of skulls, holding a sword above their head with a girl next to them with her breasts out. You think, well, I'll watch that movie. That's got everything in it.
5 breasts. Why not?
Five breasts.
That is a fantasy movie.
But I think the Abel Ferreira, the Driller Killer cover is just like literally a drill going into the top of somebody's head and blood pouring down their face, which I don't think is actually a scene from the film.
No, so it's about a struggling artist in New York who goes insane due to the stress of work and financial difficulties and basically goes around killing homeless people with a power drill.
Yes. It's very boring. I remember it being very boring.
You'll be able to rule on this. Abel Ferreira has said he sees it as a comedy.
It didn't really make me... It didn't make me laugh. It didn't particularly make me scared either.
Yeah.
He is the Driller Killer as well, isn't he? It's him in the title role.
Don't know.
I think so,
right.
yeah.
He goes on to do the Miami Vice TV series.
Yeah, and he did Bad Lieutenant as well.
Yeah, so that's one. There's a various big ones. Let's go through them. There's The Evil Dead. Have you seen that?
Seen that, yeah. Evil Dead 1, 2 and 3. They're fantastic, by the way. And I consider Evil Dead 2 to basically be a comedy.
Do you?
Bruce Campbell, yeah. It's sort of like they've sort of taken the first movie and just remade it as if it was all funny. And it's brilliant. Bruce Campbell's amazing.
It's a classic. 5 college students travel to an isolated cabin in the woods, etc. So it gets an X certificate with 55 seconds of cuts initially. I'll read out the cuts that they've asked for the X certificate. Reduce the number of blows with an axe, reducing the length of an eye gouging, reducing the number of times that a pencil was twisted into a person's leg.
Lovely. There's also a long scene with a tree that is pretty explicit.
Does the tree rape someone or something?
That's right. Yeah.
Grim times. You loved it. Did you? You thought it was a comedy.
Well, no, the second one is a comedy. The first one is a horror. But then he went on, like Sam Raimi went on to do like the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, of course.
So like they've all had legitimate careers out of this.
Yeah. Well, do you call that a legitimate career, Spider-Man?
Making the Spider-Man movies, it's honest work.
Great, mate. Reel 2, remove prolonged screwing into ankle of pencil. Point may be seen going in and resultant bleeding, but turning of pencil in wound must be removed.
Wow.
How are you making these decisions? Reel 3, reduce the sight of Shelley chewing off her hand. Remove close shots of Scotty chopping Shelley's hand and legs off. Reduce to the minimum sight of fluid spewing from Linda's mouth after falling on the dagger.
I might rewatch it.
Is it your scene?
I remember liking it at the time, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So the other one is Cannibal Holocaust. Have you watched Cannibal Holocaust?
No, I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust. That seemed like a bridge too far for me.
The tagline is the most controversial movie ever made.
Yeah.
This is a wild. So this is an anthropologist ventures into the Amazon rainforest on a rescue mission, and he recovers footage shot by a film crew which documents the disastrous encounters with local cannibal tribes. I suppose that's slightly similar to the Blair Witch premise.
Yeah, I guess so.
The old found footage.
Yeah.
So on its release in Italy, the director, the producers and the writer are convicted of obscenity after a judge orders the film to be seized. So Ruggero Deodato and his team, they're given 4 months suspended sentences for obscenity and violence, including animal cruelty. And it takes 3 years to get the film re-released. This is mad, this next bit. Due to the film's naturalistic documentary style, rumours are that Deodato has been arrested and charged with the murder of the actors on screen.
You see, you can't buy publicity like this.
Exactly. So the rumour says that he asked the actors to attend the court to clear his name because he'd initially told them to lay low to make people thinking they were dead. But obviously that's backfired on him badly. Guys, you've got to ignore my first instruction. There's a suggestion that actors are contractually obliged to do this, but they've denied that. So that's what happens there.
That's brilliant, though. You can imagine, if you're somebody who's interested in that world, the idea that this is a film so obscene, it's been taken to court, and there's a rumour that it's actually a snuff movie.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a shame you haven't seen Cannibal Holocaust, or you could ask.
No, well, I've got a free afternoon tomorrow, so it's what I'll do.
I wonder if it's on Netflix. So the film that a lot of people associate with Moral Panic, which isn't a video nasty, but it's quite instructive as to how these things play out, is A Clockwork Orange.
Yes, I've seen that.
You've seen that? Of course you've seen that.
Of course you've seen that.
Have you read the book as well?
No, I haven't read the book. No, have you read the book?
No, I'm not really interested. I find stuff like that, I just don't really want to read about rape. Do you know what I mean?
Now that paints me in a bad light.
No, I find that whole thing, I find horror, it's always, truth be told, I've never understood the attraction.
Yeah. Are you a roller coasters kind of guy? Do you like going on roller coasters?
I can put myself through the roller coaster, but
you wouldn't choose to do it.
I've got no interest in wanting to do it. But I'd probably come off and go, that was exciting. Let's never go on it again.
Yeah, exactly. Which you might do with a horror movie.
You might do that with a horror movie, but you can get off a horror movie.
That's true.
Or you can get off on it as well.
Yeah, you can.
The Clockwork Orange. So that's, the book was 1962. The film's 1971. Books by Anthony Burgess. The film is Stanley Kubrick, obviously. Everyone knows that. The film premieres in 1971 in New York. So why a lot of people think that Clockwork Orange is a video nasty is a lot of people think it was banned, but it wasn't banned. So let's go through that, right? It's about young men whose interests are rape, ultraviolence, and Beethoven.
That's right.
I'm into none of those. Are you into any of those?
No, not really. But if I had to pick one, Beethoven.
Definitely. Weirdly, it's the film Beethoven as well, which is the it's a real quirk of the film.
They just love the idea of a slobbery St. Bernard.
They'll go beat up some people. They'll go and stab a tramp under a bridge, and then they'll go and watch Beethoven.
If you listen, you rewatch that first Beethoven. There's ultra-violence there.
There is
when the lead gets tied around that poor guy's leg and he gets dragged through 3 gardens, that to me, you tell me he didn't get a bit dinged up after that.
So, Labour MP for Coventry West, Maurice Edelman, predicted in a newspaper interview that when A Clockwork Orange is released, it will lead to a clockwork cult, which will magnify teenage violence. And there's lots of stories in 72 about copycat gangs. They don't really stand up. There's stories like this. Richard Palmer, who's a 16-year-old from Bletchley, who basically goes on trial for a murder of a homeless man, which is a scene in the film, but he actually hasn't seen the film. But it's kind of grim.
Sort of, unfortunately, the idea of people going into town late at night and kicking the fuck out of people or murdering people is not... That wasn't invented in 1972.
No. It was invented in 1963 by the Beatles, wasn't it?
That's right, absolutely, yeah.
So Mary Whitehouse basically says that it's not scientifically proven that films can make people do stuff, but it's common sense. She says it's sickening and disgusting. She had to leave after 20 minutes, which, to be fair, is a pretty good... You've got to respect it. She's done a good stint.
She stuck it out. It's longer than you've lasted.
Exactly.
It's more than you've seen.
The only time I've seen people leave the cinema was I saw a group of youths leave Alan Bennett's The History Boys. And
right. all with their school ties on, ready to hop on the the back of a motorcycle of their Latin professor.
Yeah, exactly. They were all in hoodies. I don't know what they thought the History Boys was, but that was not the film they were looking for. So this is a similar problem of combination. So it's banned in Blackpool, Ashford, Dorking, Esher, Hastings, Hawley and Reigate. They're the places that ban A Clockwork Orange.
Those are the no-go areas if you want to see A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, exactly. So that, for instance, there's a letter sent to a cinema in Hastings. This gives an idea of what kind of correspondence is. I'm instructed to give you notice in pursuance of the condition number 13 of the licence which you hold under the Cinematographer Act in respect of the above-named premises that the film entitled A Clockwork Orange shall not be exhibited in the premises on the respective grounds that if exhibited, it would A, offend against good taste or decency, B, be likely to encourage or incite crime or lead to disorder, C, be offensive to public feeling. It was, though, fortunately possible to board a train in Hastings. 10 minutes later, you'd be in Bexhill where you could watch A Clockwork Orange.
Why not have a jolly?
It's this weird thing where councils have different views on what they can do.
Yeah, it must have been quite sort of, by its nature, very divisive for the country, isn't it? That we can't sort of get together and go, this is wrong and this is right.
Were you under the impression that it was banned, Clockwork Orange?
I think I was, yeah. I think if you'd asked me before, did Kubrick himself say, I don't want it to be out anymore?
He withdraws it himself.
Yeah. I think I half remember that.
Yeah, so basically, his response is, I know there are well-intentioned people who sincerely believe that films and TV contribute to violence, but almost all of the official studies of this question have concluded there's no evidence to support this view. At the same time, I think the media tend to exploit the issue because it allows them to display and discuss so-called harmful things from a lofty position of moral superiority. I agree with most of that, if not all of it. But it's him that says to withdraw it in 1973, and it's basically never screened again until his death in 1999. In 1983, the Scala Cinema in King's Cross shows it, and at Kubrick's insistence, Warner Brothers go into a legal battle over the screening, and the cinema's closed down. So he's really... Yeah. No one knows why he did it. He's never spoken about why he withdrew it. He's unlikely to now because he's dead. No. But his wife basically says, suddenly Stanley was blamed for every crime ever. So it became frightening because we had Mary Whitehouse and all these other religious and moral groups write to us, write in a way that wasn't so religious or moral. And finally, someone really threatened us and the police came. I always had my head in the sand about the whole thing, but suddenly it was really scary. There were people in front of the house and asking the children questions. So
it's for the safety of his family and for his own well-being, basically.
Yeah. And so this is another kind of victory for Mary Whitehouse. This isn't a video nasty, but this is another victory for Mary Whitehouse. So she's becoming such a big thing. So in 1972, she'd complained about Alice Cooper's Schools Out.
What I love about all of it, I mean, obviously, that, you know, Clockwork Orange, but they are quite sort of campy.
Well, this is tame, yes. She didn't like the lyrics. School's been blown to pieces and no more books, no more teachers. She said it was an incitement to violence, and the song goes to number one because of this.
Great. Again, it's fantastic publicity.
Alice Cooper says Mary Whitehouse was the best thing that ever happened to Alice Cooper, and he sends her a bouquet of flowers to thank her.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
And so she is moving into films, though, right, as a thing that she doesn't like. The Exorcist is her next target, and she implores people not to watch the film. She goes to local councils. Then she further goes for Last Tango in Paris, which is a kind of shagathon, isn't it, basically?
Yeah. Again, quite a traumatic one.
Well, that's the thing, right? So she's very against it, and everyone's like, this is classic Mary Whitehouse prudity. Actually, in the modern age, people have learned that Maria Schneider, who's the leading lady, hasn't been told about the nature of one of the sex scenes, and it's psychologically damaged her for years afterwards. And this is a thing that happens with Mary Whitehouse, is that certainly when it comes to porn and stuff like that, a lot of her thinking has been adopted by the liberal left now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That pornography is quite damaging to the people involved, and it is quite damaging to people watching it and stuff like that.
It can be, yeah.
It can be. Sorry, yeah, it can be, yes. Then she goes head to head with a man called David Sullivan. You know who David Sullivan is?
No.
He owns West Ham. He's the founder of the Sunday Sport or the Daily Sport or whatever. He's a pornographer. This is one of those ones where it's like, David Sullivan's not a good guy. I'm going to say that, right?
Okay.
They both appear on TV in one of those classic. They don't really do them anymore, do they? But in the 70s, you'd often just get the two biggest people of extremes just head to head in a studio debating.
Well, you know where that happens now? That's Jubilee, isn't it? It's like, you know, I mean, obviously, Charlie Kirk, that was his stock in trade, wasn't it? I am a fundamentalist right-wing Christian. I will sit down with a liberal student and we will go head to head and I will quote the Bible at you and that kind of stuff. And if you're on a certain algorithm, that is all you're being fed on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, I suppose it is TikTok and Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. So basically, Mary says that the porn industry is morally corrupt, needs kind of heavy-duty regulations. David states to Jermaine Greer, who presumably is sharing it, that Mary is a nice old lady who's out of touch. So a lot of people do these digs, like the painting. So what David does is he starts a new porn magazine called Whitehouse magazine.
Oh, no.
The International Quality Glamour magazine. And it's substantially more explicit than its predecessor.
Well, it's 5 breasts, isn't it? Every model has at the very least 5 breasts.
It becomes one of his most successful publications. He also convinces a woman called Maureen Mogg to change her name by deed poll to Mary Whitehouse and go all around the country having sex with people. He would then write and publish these stories as Mary Whitehouse in the magazine.
Oh, dear.
It's one of those things where you go, I don't think anyone's coming out of this well.
Yeah. Did it actually happen, or did he just get one of his journalist mates to write the stories?
No, I think
it's
it's
like
true.
there actually was a woman traveling the country with Mary Whitehouse, and yikes, yeah. Nobody's covering themselves in glory here, are they?
That's not what they're covering themselves in.
Sorry, Josh, come on, Josh. You're a father of 2. You're better than that.
So, but she is having success despite this. So there's this Jesus porno film called The Many Faces of Jesus. And it shows Jesus involved in homosexual and heterosexual sex acts. It's made by Jens Jorgen, a Danish filmmaker. This says a lot about how liberal it is in the UK. He wasn't allowed to make the film in Denmark, but he comes to the UK because we've got more liberal sex laws.
Oh, no. Maybe we did need Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah. Mary claims the film's intended as a weapon in the restructuring of Western society.
Right. Okay.
But one of Mary's followers writes to the Queen about the issue, and the Queen replies. Actually, the Queen says that she found the film subject, obnoxious. I'm presuming she's just basing it on what she's read. She's not watching it.
She's not sitting down and watching it with Philip.
Yeah. So actually, she can't have because it hasn't been made yet because he's coming to the UK to make it.
Right.
Mary's organisation, Tell the Press and the Home Secretary, has to ban Jens Jorgen from coming to the country because basically the Queen stepped in. And it is this success that propels Mary Whitehouse forward as she's about to go head-to-head with the video nasty movement. And that will end in triumph and disaster for all concerned next time.
Great. Can't wait.
Remember, you can get all of the episodes of the series right now. Go to museumofpopculture.supportingcast.fm